Warner Brothers Discovery and all of its subsidiaries, which includes Warner Brothers Game, is doubling down on DEI, specifically inclusion. This came to my attention via Grums yesterday, but apparently the memo went out at the end of February. Somehow missed it. There's tons of things happening in the news, so I guess that is to be expected. But I wrote this up over at phantompulse.com. Deadline was able to obtain the memo, which was written by Warner Brothers Chief Global Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer Asif Sadiq and Chief People and Culture Officer Jennifer Remling, where they make it very clear that the company unequivocally supports diversity, inclusion, and equity initiatives. In the memo, the duo said this: "For more than a century, our company has had a proud history of creating stories that inspire, educate, and entertain audiences of all backgrounds all over the world. As storytellers, to truly and deeply connect with those global audiences, it is imperative that we understand and reflect the incredible depth of their lives and experiences at every level of our company, in front of and behind the camera, on and off the screen. Our success absolutely depends on having a team that's truly diverse, reflects all perspectives, and has a culture where our employees feel valued and respected. These have always been our values, and that won't ever change." So I don't feel like I need to explain the absurdity of that comment, but I will just kind of say, when you say you need to reflect all perspectives, does that mean that you're going to be respecting maybe someone who believes in ritual human sacrifice or believes in cannibalism? I don't think you do. I don't think you do. So you're lying. You're lying. Anyways, the duo then declared the company's allegiance to woke ideology, saying, "We continue to be strongly committed to telling inclusive and diverse stories across our film and television programming around the world." So there you have it. They are still committed to telling inclusive and diverse stories across our film and television programming around the world. One would assume that also applies to their video game division, despite that video game division suffering a $200 million impairment charge after the failure of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League a little over a year ago. Nevertheless, they continue that they will be growing an inclusive team, and they do this by, quote, "best-in-class recruiting and training programs, which provide essential skills training, education, and job opportunities to build career pathways into the entertainment industry for people of all backgrounds." However, I highly doubt this is true, given just last year, Sadiq was on record advocating for the removal of qualified employees simply because they oppose DEI. This was reported by Newsbusters after Sadiq outlined his tactics to remove qualified employees as a panel. Well, he discussed this tactic as a panelist for the Aspen Institute webinar titled "The Future of DEI in Corporate America" back in February 2025. His comments came following Design Observer editor-in-chief Ellen McGirt saying this: "We came up with this strategy and I love it. It is, find your people and ignore the person you cannot persuade. You know exactly who they are, and if you can't bring yourself to do it because of your professional orientation, give it 30 days, ignore them for 30 days. Don't take the bait. Don't send them the clip. Don't send them the newsletter. Don't send them the deck. Just focus on the people who are willing to do the work, the new arrivals to the work, the new leaders who are preparing, as we've talked about, to be better allies, to be more vulnerable, to communicate better, work preparing them. But absolutely do not get caught into that spin cycle of trying to persuade the most powerful person that you know who is not interested to be interested because they're not coming. 30 days, you can do it." And so Sadiq reacted to what McGirt said, saying this, and if I can just add on to that point, because I think it's such an important point, even beyond leaders, there's always those few people who will never change. You will never convince them. You can try up until the end of eternity, and it will still not happen. We waste so much energy doing that sometimes as individuals, whether you're in a leadership position or in a team, and so on. Focus on the ones who want to change, because that way you start changing culture. And if you change culture often, those people who don't come around will start saying this place isn't the way it used to be, and they'll leave themselves, which is great. So he's literally trying to change the culture of Warner Brother to get rid of talented people because they don't happen to be ideologically on board with the racist policies he's advocating in DEI. Newsbusters also reported that he said this: I think this is a moment where people have to show up as actively being anti-racist, and that requires going a bit further than saying, that's not me, so I'm just going to sit back. That requires you using your power, privilege, and the positions you hold to try to create equity for marginalized groups, for historically marginalized groups and groups who haven't had access, but that requires really stepping up, and it's showing up as well, showing up internally, showing up to even to the structures that DEI has put in place, whether it's business resource groups, employee resource groups, events. Showing up during this period of time for a leader is critical because it shows that you care and you're willing to learn. So this idea that they are going to have best-in-class recruiting and training programs, it's a bunch of BS, because this guy is literally trying to remove top talent from his company, especially if those people are not ideologically on board his racist DEI policies. It's just totally destroying this company. And there's a reason why we see this company putting out loser after loser after loser, whether it is in movies, whether it's in television shows, whether it is in video games. Sure, there are some exceptions. You can look at Barbie, etc. You can look at Hogwarts Legacy. But for the most part, this company is putting out a bunch of losers. Despite this, Sadiq and Remley's email claims they will be supporting all employees and will ensure our business resource groups, which we believe play an important role in fostering community and belonging, continue to thrive as they welcome everyone to celebrate culture and share experiences. Remember, these employee resource groups, he literally says that those are part of the DEI agenda, so they're staying, right? But they're supporting all employees. Sure you are. Sure you are. Guys, these people are just straight up lying. Next, the email states that the company will be leading with inclusion. Our overarching work in this space will now be referred to as inclusion, which Asif's team will continue to oversee. Making this change better aligns our language with our focus throughout our company, in our industry, and across our content. We're updating the language we use to ensure the intent and impact of our actions are clear. You'll see this new approach being updated on WarnerBrothersDiscovery.com or WBD.com, as well as our internal channels. It does claim it will have a uniform and consistent application process across our talent programs, including internships, mentoring, and other development programs. All of our programs will be open and welcoming to all applicants. I highly doubt that. They will probably be discriminating purely based on ideological bent now. I have a feeling that if they do try to continue doing what they were probably doing in the past, which was discriminating based on race, sex, and likely sexual identity and other factors, it will now just be discriminating based on ideology. Anyways, they say the goal of cultivating an inclusive home for world-class talent, it's right there. They're telling you that they're going to be discriminating based on ideology. And if you don't buy into the inclusive ideology, you won't be welcome in their company. By investing in world-class talent from wherever it comes, we are not only supporting growth and opportunity in this company, but also strengthening the wider industry's future. Again, inclusivity does not equal growth, does not equal talent. It doesn't. It's just not true. It's fake. It's a lie. The McKinsey document has been thoroughly debunked, and you can just see all of these companies that did indeed embrace all of these policies, well, have their profits increased? Well, no, they haven't. Okay, so there is no correlation. There is obviously no causation. So this is all a lie. And again, it flies in the face of previous comments made by Sadiq about kicking out employees on purely ideological grounds, no matter how talented they are. Finally, the duo concluded their email reiterating this: since our commitment to inclusion is essential to our business and our mission, we are undertaking this evolution thoughtfully. We are working with corporate and creative stakeholders from across the company to develop a refreshed strategy that aligns with both our business priorities and core values. We will share more with you soon as this progresses. Telling stories that shape culture and engage people all over the world takes a commitment to diverse voices, perspectives, and experiences. And I think that tells you right there, too, that these people are indeed trying to shape culture. So when they're saying that they're not only shaping their internal culture to promote these immoral and illegal practices and ideas that DEI encompasses, they're trying to push that onto the entire world as well. I mean, very, very sick stuff here. This is why the Trump administration is right in trying to root this stuff out from the private sector, because it is so damaging and has done so much damage to our society and to the world at large, which we should not tolerate, and we should never have tolerated in the first place. Anyways, they go on saying, fully representing our audiences is critical to our business, our content, and our culture. We are now and always will be committed to ensuring our values underpin how we operate as a company. So all of this stuff is a bunch of BS. The Marvel Studios VP, Victoria Alonso, was spouting all this stuff off like back in 2020, 2019, etc. And then what have we seen? We've seen an absolute collapse with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The box office has completely and utterly plummeted. Captain America: Brave New World is the second worst performing film in the entire MCU, only ahead of the Marvels, especially when you factor in inflation. I know people are out there praising, oh, it passed First Avenger. Well, you factor in inflation. First Avenger did like half a billion. and Captain America: Brave New World is unlikely to even hit 400 million globally. So the proof is in the pudding. You can look at their Disney Plus as well. Daredevil Born Again is performing worse than The Acolyte in the United States. And that's with Disney, the Walt Disney Company, reporting that Disney Plus subscribers have actually been increasing in the United States. So the shows are actually performing worse, even though there are more people subscribed to Disney Plus. So that tells us that the people that are subscribing to Disney Plus are not watching this stuff anymore. People are not interested in this. They have significantly destroyed the brand by embracing this. Now, obviously, this is a competing company, but I think we can probably say that it's likely happening with DC as well. One can probably look at the DC comics. They don't even report the numbers anymore, so it's all probably in the toilet. I know it's clearly not in the zeitgeist anymore. Who's talking about DC comics anymore? No one is. I think the hype for Superman is fake. I don't think there is a lot of hype for that film. I think that film might do even worse than Captain America: Brave New World. I mean, when was the last time we had a good DC movie? I mean, the DC brand is in shambles as well. Blue Beetle, terrible box office numbers. I guess people were the critics and some people liked the Penguin, but I don't think the viewership was all that great, and it doesn't look like they're going to be backing up a truck full of money to try and get a second season. So you would think if you had a successful show, you would be trying to get a second season, but that doesn't seem to be the case. It seems to be that the entire brand is in disarray there as well. Even Harry Potter, obviously they had a huge hit with Hogwarts Legacy, but given the fact that they are embracing all of this DEI stuff, I think it's going to turn off a lot of the Harry Potter fan base. They are not interested in the race swapping. They're not interested in this representation ideology that Warner Brothers here is embracing. And you can look at that Quidditch Champions game. So that did not do well. That released last year. So that isn't a surefire thing either for that upcoming live action television project. So this stuff doesn't work. In fact, I didn't include it in this article, but this guy, Sadiq, has actually done like TED Talks where he says that U.S. companies have spent like $8 billion on these DEI programs, and they aren't getting the results that they want because it doesn't work. So they're literally just transferring money to their own sycophants to fund their politics, to try and use the federal government to push all of this stuff down and brainwash and indoctrinate people into it. But fortunately, the Trump administration does seem to be taking action against this, is rooting this stuff out of the federal government, and is working to get it out of the private sector. Covered the fact that I think it's the FCC has already opened an investigation into NBC Universal, sending a message to all of these companies that they better get into shape, or they could have regulatory or even lawsuits kind of coming at them. So I hope the Trump administration does indeed follow through with a lot of that stuff, because this stuff is so insidious, it is so evil, and it needs to be rooted out of these corporations, just like it is being rooted out of the federal government right now. But let me know what you guys make of all of this. This is obviously evidence that woke is not dead. It is still alive and well, and these major corporations are still pushing it, and they are pushing it, as they say, to shape culture and engage people all over the world. So they are literally trying to indoctrinate people through their propaganda with this stuff they are telling you. That is what they're doing. So let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.